Greetings! You're probably wondering why myself and Tom Servo are here addressing you. Well, that can only mean one thing. Mystery Science Theater 3000 is back, bitches.
Watch your profanity.
For those of you who don't know, the announcement was made a week or so ago that Mystery Science Theater 3000 is returning once again, this time in the hands of the boys from Rifftrax. And if you're not familiar with Rifftrax, that features Michael J. Nelson, Kevin Murphy, and Bill Corbett, who were the stars of MST3K during the Sci-Fi Channel era from 1997 to 1999. And that's really exciting. We had a relaunch of Mystery Science Theater back in 2017. We did a big Kickstarter campaign for it in 2015, which brought it back to Netflix for 2 seasons, and then it eventually got its own app called the Gizmoplex that came out in 2022, courtesy of a Kickstarter in 2021. And so we had all these exciting things happen, and even more new episodes and even more new cast members. There was a whole new cast for the Netflix series, and then even more newer cast members for the Gizmoplex era. Though the Gizmoplex era was a success and everybody seemed to enjoy it, another Kickstarter campaign, which took place around Thanksgiving time in 2023, did not fare as well. It was not successful, unfortunately, so a lot of people started asking, are we just getting Mystery Science Theater fatigue, or is it financial issues? I think it was more financial issues than anything else. It was a weird time to do a Kickstarter campaign that we weren't expecting. Because the 2015 Kickstarter campaign was around like Thanksgiving, Christmas time, around the holidays, but we knew it was coming because there was the huge announcement that Mystery Science was coming back, all of that. That Kickstarter campaign just kind of came out of nowhere, like left field in 2023, and I don't think anybody was really prepared. And finances as they were then, as they still are now, are not super great for everybody. So I think that caused some issues for the backers because they just weren't really prepared to do another big Kickstarter campaign. But now, the major announcement was made. Rifftrax now has a hold of Mystery Science Theater, and they are going to do their own special episodes. And what does that mean exactly? What does it mean now that Rifftrax has it as opposed to Joel Hodgson and crew? Well, Mystery Science Theater, every era feels like its own show. If you're a fan of Mystery Science Theater, you know what I'm talking about. Every era feels like its own show, and at times you forget that this was the show that had these people on it because these people are on it and doing their own thing, and you're vibing with them, and so you don't really know. It all gets kind of confusing. But see, that's the thing. Is like every era of Mystery Science Theater feels like its own show. When Joel was the original host, he was the creator of the show, and he was more like a father figure to the bots, to the robots, and so it was more, family friendly, I guess. And not that the show has never been family friendly, it felt more family friendly.
God bless Joel and Gypsy.
And all the aliens that have visited the ship.
But then when Joel left and Mike Nelson took over as the host, he was more of like a big brother to the robots, and so it kind of took on an edgier tone. It took on more, everybody I think was more sarcastic, everybody was edgier. That's a good word for it.
It's the 80s, do a lot of coke and vote for Ronald Reagan.
And then by the time they got to the Sci-Fi Channel, it had really just gone, it was a completely different direction. The same show, but it just felt different. A good different, but it felt different. And then it's the same way with Netflix. It was the same way with the Gizmoplex. Everybody kind of brings their own element to the show. So basically what I'm getting around is what does it mean with Rifftrax taking it back over? I feel like it's going to be a very nostalgic feeling. This would be like a true reboot, if you will. Obviously Mystery Science is, they didn't do like the full-on reboot. They did what we call the soft reboot, which is, it's a continuing story of the series with new people, but it's extremely similar to what they did in the past, obviously. So it's a soft reboot. I think this too will also be a soft reboot. That being said, it's actually going to feature people from the past. So that'll be interesting. Joel's vision and like the Mike Nelson people vision. Obviously they all work together, but like, you know, you had those two separate groups. The Joel vision was more along the lines of, and I think he even said this in an interview, and I think we talked about it when we interviewed Emily and Kelsey a few years ago. He wanted Mystery Science to be like Saturday Night Live, where you would have this core group of people. They would hang around, do their own thing. People would enjoy it, but then, you know, after a certain amount of time, they would leave, and a new group would come in, and they would do their thing, and, you know, and just so on and so forth. And I think that's what he really wanted to do with the new coming of Mystery Science, the return, is he wanted it to feel like Mystery Science Theater, but at the same time having a new element, having that new element of surprise, like, these are new people and they're doing it this way and it's different, you know. So he was more wanting that more than anything else. I feel like the group that kind of works more with Mike Nelson and Kevin Murphy and all of them, I think that they want more of a sustainability. They want to have that core show that people will tune into every week, because they know what to expect, but at the same time they don't know what to expect. You know, it's something new with the same people, and I feel like that's kind of, well, I know that's what we're going to get, but I feel like at times I think people gravitate towards that more. If you were to flat out ask, because I'm going to be posting this to some of the Mystery Science Theater groups that I'm a part of on social media. If you broke it down, like you asked them what was their favorite era of the show, a lot of them would say the Joel era. You'd have a lot that would say the Mike era, and it would end up being split down the middle, and I really couldn't tell you who would come out the winner. And of course now you have the added stress of is the Joel era you like, the Mike era, the Jonah era, the Emily era, you know, who do you like the most? And it's just, you know, it's kind of chaos in that respect. But I feel like everybody's got their own taste. Personally, for me, I love Joel Hodgson. I love the Joel era, the original Joel era. I loved the Netflix era. I loved the Gizmoplex era. Emily Marsh was a huge breath of fresh air. Kelsey Ann Brady as Crow was genius. All that whole era was just fantastic, and I loved it. I mean, sure, it had its little issues, but what show doesn't have its issues? Even the era that's coming back had their little issues, but you know, it's you make do with it, and you find the good in, you know, the little nuggets of bad are not going to be able to take all the good, you know. So that's kind of the main point. But I probably will say that the Mike Nelson era is my favorite era. It was the era I grew up with. I came late to Mystery Science Theater. I come late to all popular shows. I never start with a show. I always have to come later down the road, and then it'll be on for a while. Then I'll enjoy it. We were just talking about this the other day. Bob's Burgers. That show was on for like 11 years before I really got into it. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's been on for 17 seasons, 21 years in all. And I just recently started getting into it. Yeah.
That's kind of lame.
I mean, I've always seen episodes and I thought, it's a funny show. If it's on, I'll leave it on. But I never just took the time to watch it and pay attention to it. 21 years later, here I am. That show started when I was a sophomore in high school. I'm almost 37 and I'm just now getting into that show. So, I mean, I come late to a lot of shows, and Mystery Science is no different. I came in about 1995. They were still on Comedy Central at the time. However, the cable package that my parents had at home, Comedy Central was not available. You had to get satellite for that back then. So I had no clue what Mystery Science Theater was. But shout out our local WB affiliate here in Knoxville, the WB20, now the CW20. When the WB first came on, they didn't have a lot of programming. There wasn't a lot of content for them to put on, so they really relied on their affiliates to fill the air with whatever they wanted to put on. And our affiliate here in Knoxville put on the shortened version of Mystery Science called the Mystery Science Theater Hour. And if you're not familiar with that, what they would do is they would take a 2-hour episode and break it into 2 1-hour episodes. So that way you can watch the first episode would have the first half of that episode, and then the second one would have the second half. And so they could play that first one whenever, and then come back, play the second one whenever. That way the main goal for Mystery Science Theater Hour was to put the reruns of Mystery Science into syndication, and that's how it worked. Luckily, the WB20 here in Knoxville would play those episodes simultaneously. So you watched one full episode of Mystery Science. And that's where I fell in love with it. And then shortly after that, the movie came out and I saw it, loved it. And then around that same time, Mystery Science made the move from Comedy Central to the Sci-Fi Channel. So I didn't start watching Mystery Science Theater on a regular basis until the Sci-Fi Channel era. And so that's when I really fell in love with the show, was when this group was in charge. Mike and the Bots and Pearl, Professor Bobo, and Brain Guy. That was the group that I really paid attention to and enjoyed. So this, I think, is extremely welcoming news. I think it's really exciting that this is the group that's going to be coming back with Mystery Science again. Again, I love Joel, and it's my hope that they will bring on maybe some of the past cast members from the newer era into this as well. It's already been announced that Trace Beaulieu and Frank Conniff will be coming back as Dr. Forrester and TV's Frank. They're going to be making an appearance on the show. I don't know, extensively what the whole deal is, but it has been announced that they will be a part of it as well. So the excitement continues. Basically, they're saying you just don't know who's going to be a part of this. Everybody could be a part of it. Nobody could be a part of it. It may not even happen. It could be just a big scam. No. It is happening. It is happening. Because they earned all the money they were asking for within the first few minutes of the Kickstarter, and so people are back. People are ready. We're ready for another season of Mystery Science, and I think it's going to be exciting. Death Sport is the first movie with David Carradine that they're going to do, and I think that's awesome. If most Mystery Science Theater fans are also fans of Red Letter Media in Wisconsin. And so we all know the jokes about David Carradine.
David Carradine has his own set of hang-ups.
We're talking about real people, okay? I'm sure when his brother died, he was all choked up about it.
So I'm wondering, I don't know. Again, this group of Mystery Science, it was edgier than the Joel group. So I don't know if they're going to make any autoerotic asphyxiation jokes. If they do, that's great. If not, I understand it may be a little not nice to do that, but overall, what to expect from this? I expect a lot of nostalgia. I expect us to be taken back to the old days. Obviously, you can never recreate what happened back in those days. That's in the past. So we're doing a new version of that, and so it may take some getting used to. I don't know. Again, I hope they bring back more people than just Trace and Frank and everybody that they've announced. I'd love for them to bring Emily on just for a guest appearance. Hell, Kelsey, there's two crows, and one's played by Bill Corbett, the other played by Kelsey and Brady. I mean, that would be incredible. I think that would be a great grouping right there. But who knows, but I think we are going to get that feeling back that we had from this. This is really going to be the feel, that feel of nostalgia, bringing back Mystery Science as we remember it. Jonah and Emily, again, breaths of fresh air, but it felt like a new series. Bringing back veterans to do this show and doing it the way that they did it, it's a good feeling. It's going to be fun, I think. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the new Mystery Science. I hope you are as well. I'm sure you probably are. Again, the Kickstarter campaign was bigly huge, and it just was incredible. And so obviously we're all very excited about this, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. Bye.